everybody, welcome to Guns, Optics, and Reloading. My name is Brian, and in this episode we're going to talk about one of my new hobbies, and it is 3D printing. Well, you say 3D printing and guns and optics and reloading? Well, yeah, I mean, why not? It gives you the capabilities of prototyping stuff and playing around with stuff and inventing new stuff, and you can do it all fairly quickly. I really like to tinker with stuff. I really like to invent and create and come up with stuff. Here's some Varget, by the way. So let me just go through some of this so you can kind of check it out. So we've got, for instance, I found this. There's a website called Thingiverse. Well, you can find a lot of really cool free stuff. If you have an idea, you can look it up. Hey, here's something I could use, print it out. Hey, I got it. Well, check this out. This is a cool funnel. It fits my Hornady lock and load progressive press powder station. So, you know, all of you who do reloading, you know, you take one of these, or if you're reloading a lot and you've got an 8-pounder, well, you try and dump it in the normal one, you have to take your hand, you know, and kind of fidget it in there, and well, this solves that problem. You stick this in there, dump it, no more hand. Well, that's really cool. I really liked it. Well, my buddy and I were like, well, hey, what if you wanted to dump it back into this? Well, guess what? You take this. So if I want to dump it back from my Hornady, dang, this doesn't fit. So I said, you know what? I can modify that. I'll invent my own. So get in my 3D software, and guess what? Now I have a funnel that not only will fit right here in the Hornady, just like that one, but now when I'm done, look at that. I can drop it in here, take my Hornady powder station, and dump it back in here. Well, so now I've got a dual purpose. I didn't have to wait for somebody else to invent it. I didn't have to wait for anything. I just said, hey, this is a cool idea. 3D print one. So, again, I needed some stuff for my dies. I was always trying to, you know, if you've got a lot of dies, you're reloading a lot, well, you've got to figure out how to store them and whatever. Well, if you want to get the stuff quick or take up less space, you don't want, you know, cases laying around everywhere, well, here's some ideas. You can 3D print. I came up with this one. I needed something for some Lee dies, and I wanted it to be able to hold the instructions, the shell plate, the dipper, which I never use the dipper because, you know, I use other stuff, but still. I've got my Hornady lock and load bushings. They fit in here perfectly. You know, and so I've got everything I would need for that die set. It's taking up a lot less space. I can literally stack this any way I want on my bench, put a label on it here, so I know what caliber it is. If you wanted to print a rocket, this is just a test print rocket. Why not? It's cool. And here's another one. So if you're using the Hornady lock and load, and you want to say, okay, this is my die set, but I've got to have this shell plate, I've got to have this you know, depth setting for my shells. Well, look, now you can just store it all in one cool thing on your bench. You got your, you know, your different dies. This one doesn't have the powder bushing on it, so I just stuck it in here for looks. That's why it's a little wobbly. These are all good. But this one you can mount to a wall. It's got, you know, wall mount things. So, you know, if you, here's another little cool one. If you've got the new Lee primer thing, well, if you're like me, you hate loading primer tubes. Well, you can say, well, just buy the cool primer holder thing, you know, and it hooks in, it vibrates, and it seats it for you. Yeah, well, it's $50, and quite honestly, sometimes I feel cheap. So, what did I do? Got on Thingiverse and check this out. Somebody already invented this cool little thing for a small. Now they don't have a large one, but take this, do this, you hook this on here, you put the lid on it, and voila, you shake it, fills up your primer tube. Small primer tube, not large, small. So, you know, how easy is that? That took an hour to print. I didn't have to spend $50 on something. And, you know, since I like this design, if I want to print one out for a large primer tube, you know, all I got to do is redesign this and modify the hole size so that it fits a large primer. And some of you might be like, well, that 3D printing, you know, 3D software, that's kind of scary. It makes me nervous. Well, I didn't know anything about it either, yeah, when I started. But it's pretty easy to learn, and I like that kind of stuff, so, you know, whatever. So I am using a Creality, that's the name of the printer, Creality CR10. That gives me the ability to print a 300 millimeter by 300 millimeter by 400 millimeter, which in American terms is like a foot by a little bit bigger than a foot. So here's one real practical thing that I invented and printed. For my new chassis, which is in a different video, this is a PDC custom rifle chassis. I made a bag rider for it. This is a little short for my liking, and I wanted something that was not rounded but very flat so that it would sit on a bag better for doing prone or anything like that. Well, it was very simple to take some measurements with my calipers with this, take this into my 3D software, design it, and print it out, and now I have a cool, fancy bag rider. Literally screws in with some stainless screws right into my stock. It's just really strong. A lot of people think 3D printing is not strong. You would be surprised at how strong you can make your parts. And again, I am not a professional 3D printer, so I don't know everything about it, but I have learned, you know, how you orient your prints and other things like that. You can make them stronger or weaker. My initial tests on the bag rider, I printed it in the wrong orientation, so every time I would put a screw down and tighten it like a piece of wood, because it's printed in layers, well, because I had the layers going the wrong direction, every time I tighten a screw down, it would crack. Just like a piece of wood, when you're trying to, you know, a piece of plywood, if you try to put a screw in and you don't pre-drill it, it'll split. Well, same thing with plastic. So I was able to get that fixed very quickly. So would I recommend a 3D printer? Well, you know, if you are into tinkering and coming up with cool inventions, and you know, you can sell this stuff if you want to. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about, you know, maybe putting some of this like a die thing or something like that, and maybe sell some of this stuff, because I know there's guys out there who say, hey, that's a really great idea, I'll give you $5 for it. Hey, cool, you know, I'll do it. So, you know, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions I can. You know, I've learned a lot in the last couple months with doing this, and I've learned that you can really waste a lot of money, or you can buy the right equipment at a good price and get really good prints, and you'll be really happy. Another thing that I forgot to put here on the table is, you know, a lot of people like a scope throw ring, and I've seen some companies out there that are printing 3D scope rings, and they're selling them, and they are great. That's where initially I got the idea, well, you know, maybe if they're just 3D printing, well, maybe I can just print one on my 3D printer too and see if I can get it to work. And I have. So 3D printing in guns. Is it a good idea? Well, you know, if you like to tinker, I say yes, it's a great idea. It's a lot of fun. Plus you can, you know, build cool rockets and all kinds of fun stuff out there that you can 3D print. I got into it more for work and for practical fabrication, prototyping, things like that, because I love to tinker with stuff and figure stuff out. And it saves me a lot of time and money in building a part, you know, for something like this, instead of saying, hey, I need an aluminum bag rider, can you print one for me, can you make me one, and I have to wait 6 months for somebody to get a CNC machine to get the design. Whereas I can prototype this thing, get it done, get it, and it works. I can start using this right now. If it does break, I can print another one in 2 hours. Or I could print out, you know, 2 or 3 at a time, and I've got spares in my bag. Where, you know, is aluminum going to be better? Obviously, yes. Aluminum, metal, anything is going to be stronger and last longer, yes. But for quick and easy prototyping, you can't beat 3D printing. So I really just wanted to put this video out there so, you know, for some of you who are like me, who like to tinker, who like to prototype, things like that, you can get some ideas. And, you know, start playing around. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, that's it for this video. 3D printing in guns. It's a fun idea, something to think about. So, again, I appreciate all you who subscribe to my channel, who are watching. go ahead and click on the like button if you like this video. If you don't like it, click the not like button. Subscribe. Click the notification bell, all that stuff, so that when I get out new videos, you'll get them. And anyways, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time watching this video. I hope this gives you some information. If you have any questions or any comments, go ahead and put them down there, and I'll try my best to answer them and get all the information I can to you. Anyways, thanks a lot. Have a great day.